goodness. Welcome everybody to welcome to the show, America's Outpost. It's Wednesday, January the 28th, 7 p.m. It's been exciting. We haven't been on in a couple of weeks, but man, so much stuff has happened. So we should have an exciting show for everyone this evening. Hopefully we'll have a lot of discussion and back and forth. Please don't hesitate to like and follow and share and comment on all of these for us. Helps us grow on the algorithm, get our show pushed out there. Tonight, I'm going to let Brien do the introduction for our special guest. So Brien, why don't you take it away?
We got Gentry Gevers on tonight, who is a political influencer and strategist. But his claim to fame is being a follower of Jesus, a father, and a husband. So I hope I got that right. And he's a Nobel laureate.
Nope.
No, and
dropped out of school.
No, I was trying to get it right, but then I lost the text. And so, without further ado, what's going on, man?
Hi, Gentry.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah.
We're happy.
I can do that
We're happy
better.
you're here.
Our special guest tonight.
No, I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry, Brien. You had your chance. Write it in the notebook for next time.
Next time.
No, you already did it.
All right. All right. Well, how's everything going?
Where should we begin? That's the bigger question.
I think we should, just let's talk about Ilhan Omar.
Okay,
let's do this. By a show of hands, who thinks that was completely staged?
Well, that and our new sponsor, which is apple cider vinegar. But
man,
Axe
what a
body
joke!
Spray. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Actually, that would smell nasty.
How long do you think that she prepped? Do you think they did like a dry run beforehand, where she was gonna be like, and then I'm gonna be tough and I'm gonna chase after you and be like, we don't give in to terrorists like that.
You
that, bro.
You scallywags. I mean, you would hope that they would do a run through of that. I don't think they did, because if they would have seen that from a third party, they would have been like, all right, no, we got to scrap that. That looks terrible.
Well,
I mean, the whole thing from start to finish was just trash.
If you just look at like when they play the frontal view of this guy or whatever, and it's just like,
he looked like he was on drugs or drunk or both.
Why would they put him in the front row?
Yeah.
Ashy Larry up in there, man.
And then what's the bodyguard doing? He's like peeking around the corner waiting. And I'm like, man, if that was a real situation and that was my bodyguard, you're fired.
I can't.
You barely did anything. Like, get out of here.
But you
make a quick $100.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't think it can get any worse until you start seeing these virtue signaling celebrities like John Leguizamo. Who was it today? Molly Ringwald.
Yep.
Who?
Exactly.
John Leguizamo.
No, I know. Obviously,
ChatGPT.
We love the 80s.
It's bad. And then every day there's something new. Like today with the new video of Alex Pretty, kicking off the tail light and things that just happened. And dude, I don't even know what to believe anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I got a question for you boys, because I'm not well versed in this. I've never broken a bone in my life. Nothing. And this guy allegedly broke a rib a week prior in an altercation with federal agents. And here he is like kicking and throwing. And like, first of all, why would you be up and out and about with a broken rib? Yep. Second, why are you trying to fight federal law enforcement agents? That's so stupid. Yep. And third, like, what? You must be so distorted in your mindset of what you're trying to accomplish here to like drag your broken ribbed body out of bed and pack a couple and go get into it again. I don't get it. Help me understand.
It's mental health, and it is the DA process, or was that district attorney John Krasner or something, like telling people that they're Nazis and they're going to hunt them down when they get elected again. I mean, when you got politicians and your leaders in your state and you're already drinking the Kool-Aid and you got them saying that kind of, if Trump started saying stuff like that, I would disband immediately. Yeah. I would be like, okay, I can no longer support this guy. And they can't do that.
I think the answer to the question is we've seen the evidence And I forget the guy's name that got into the signal chats. Somebody knows it. Help me out here.
Cam Higby.
Cam
Higby,
Higby, yeah.
So not only did he get into the chats, they got a copy of the actual manual. So when you've got people that have been so indoctrinated and they're such believers in their cause, they're going to fight through pain. They're going to go out there and do stupid things because they've been told they'll be rescued. They'll be saved. Don't worry. We've got your back. And now we've got the footage. It came in from the BBC. It says new footage obtained by the BBC appears to show Alex Preddy with a gun on his waistband, spitting on federal law enforcement and kicking the taillight of their vehicle 1 week before he was shot dead. So this isn't just some random guy out on a walk who happens to be a licensed concealed carry guy. Just wrong place, wrong time. No, he was actually engaging in activity. He knew exactly what he was doing.
Exactly.
I don't like to talk about these things. Even the girl that got shot in her car, it really creeps me out to talk about it because no one wants to see anybody get killed.
Exactly.
But unfortunately, that's what's happening as the things have been escalated. And you guys said it before I started talking. They have ratcheted up the rhetoric to such a level. And this is, if you take it down to its base, it's tribalism. You know, my side versus your side.
It's no different in mentality than the jihadist that walks into a market and blows themselves up.
100%.
Literally.
Okay, Brien, I made this exact comparison. It sounded a little tinfoil hat, sounded a little fringe, but it's like strapping on the vest. Like you think you're going to go and you're okay if you're putting your life on the line for your cause here.
It's a noble cause.
Especially today, look at what happens to your family. Like you get honor for your family. You get a GoFundMe. You're martyred. I mean,
So suicidal people
benefit. Well, but people who can be manipulated to, maybe they think it's really not going to happen, but they have put that cause above any kind of rational thinking. We talked about that with Renee Good about how they left their children or I still don't know how many kids these two women had together. They left a kid at least at a minimum to drive over here and both participate in this. It is so disturbing to see. And I think that these training centers, right? They're training up people like an army. You talk about, are we on the brink or the cusp of civil war? Well, you have people being trained to agitate and being given the resources and the kind of tactical training here to go in. I think they should be held accountable for the violence that's happening. The guys are getting their fingers bit off. People are losing their lives, and you've got to go back to the source and say, like, this is illegal and it's unacceptable. And there literally is blood on the hands of people who are pushing this out there.
Let's take the lady who ran out there and picked up the flashbang. She blew her hand up. I mean, what did you? Oh, it's just
she was on the beaches of Normandy, dude. You didn't.
I mean, it's a smoke grenade
handled itself.
Right. And unfortunately, now she's going to be maimed. She's going to have a hand.
Yeah.
If I saw the right picture, she lost part of her fingers.
Oh.
Did she? Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Well, an eye for an eye, and a finger for a finger, right?
There you go.
Wait, Gentry, where are you? What state are you in?
I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay, you're North Carolina. Okay.
Yeah.
So you get little tinges of that kind of
really
craziness.
Raids here for a little bit, and it got really bad. All the crazy basement dweller liberals came out of the woodworks, and because it's not a super like overtly liberal city, but it was pretty bad here.
Well, I guess, like, has it calmed down there, first of all? I mean, does it seem to kind of like the tension's off of it now?
Yeah, there's still some protests here and there. I think they've probably tried to protest the ice storm, probably if they could.
They will. They need a purpose.
That's funny.
They kind of do.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was kind of thinking about, like, you know, because we have these ICE raids happening in Texas where I'm at which I saw a stat that over 200,000 were deported just last year in the last like 6 months in Texas alone. And you don't hear these kind of stories, because the rhetoric is not as inflammatory down here, and we're letting ICE do their job. We're not impeding, we're not obstructing, that kind of thing. And in Minnesota, you have like two different things happening. You have a leftist epicenter there where they're, you know, hanging on a tooth and nail for everything, every little last bit of hope they have left. And then you also have all this fraud happening. So they have two things that they're trying to deflect from and then trying to hang on to at the same time. And then it's, the leadership is not helping. Walls and Fry are just, adding flames.
I was so
to an already lit
disappointed
fire.
to see Jacob Fry come out after his conversation with Trump and then just again start attacking and start taking that position of opposition. Right. I was like, come on, there's going to be an end to this where people don't want to see you fighting back anymore, because it just demonstrates that you don't care about the people. You're just going to do whatever it takes to keep being on the other side of things from the president. And, it was interesting having Max on with us last time and hearing how the police force has still not built back from 2020. And I was doing a little digging, and it was so interesting to see that they really did defund the police, right? That precinct shut down. People took, like he was saying, everyone took early retirement. It got broken down to almost nothing. But in 2023 and 24, the city started quietly under the radar building back their police force, because you can't run a city without police. But they didn't want to tell anybody because it went completely against this narrative that caught so much popularity. But you can't do it. It doesn't work. And I wonder what's going to be that breaking point here. Clearly, it's not people losing their lives. Like, when is it going to be the point where everyone stops and says, like, too far? I think too far, come in and get it sorted out.
I think Glenn Beck had a good take on it the other night. He was talking about how President Trump's reframing the whole situation by doing what he's supposed to be doing and saying, hey, look, we're going to scale back a little bit. We're just going to focus on the criminals. Don't you want the criminals out? So it's kind of a bait and switch. And then, go ahead.
I've got a thought on that, because liberals do this all the time. They go haywire and overshoot the target by a mile. Yes. Mm-hmm. And then when they back off, they go, well, see, we backed off. Right. But even when they back off, they're really getting what they want. So now that we are reframing or right sizing or calming down or whatever the language is, I think this is exactly what they wanted to begin with. Let's just go in there hot and heavy. And yes, there's going to be people upset, and we're just going to have to back off. But when we back off, they're going to feel like they're winning, but we're still getting what we want. Right. And so I think
Trump's art of the deal.
Yeah, I think that art of the deal. Thank you. I think that was very strategic on his part.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I have kind of the opposite take. I think that what we found out with Cam Higbee and 0 Hour on Twitter with the Signal group chats, I think we discovered that there is an actual insurgency or terrorist cell group that has been building in Minnesota. And that kind of sucks to say, because it's American citizens, it's, friends and family of people who are good people, who have just been ideologically captured by this weird woke movement. They're total dorks, but they're dorks that are, causing chaos and it's there's people who are in the government who are doing this as well. There's a lot of speculation that the Lieutenant AG is involved in this, that they have access to national databases, which you can't have unless you have, certain clearance or a certain job in the government. And so because we found out about that, honestly, I think we should go in and crush them.
Yeah. Crush 100%.
That's a great point.
And because here's what's going to happen. If Minnesota decides that this is a win, which they definitely could, they're going to copy and paste, export that to another blue city. And that blue city is probably going to be Seattle, San Francisco, Portland, Chicago, like you name it. They're going to do, like New York for sure. And then we're going to see this happening all over the country, and it's going to spread us thin. I mean, it's like if you war game this out, it's better to crush the enemy when you can, versus have it be spread thin like this. And I hate to say this because I don't want a civil war, but the level of indecency and lack of respect that these people are showing to like our fellow Americans, they're protecting rapists and fraudsters. They're protecting people that are stealing from them, like billions and billions of dollars. And it like, I think those people who are involved in that, not every Minnesotan and not even every liberal Minnesotan, but the people who are in that signal chat that are participating, I think they need to be crushed, and I think they need to be thrown in jail.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with that level of organization, I mean, there's no other definition other than like organized terrorism. I mean, they have that structure within that signal chat where you could literally call it an enemy force. And, from top to bottom, they have, intelligence. They have, forward observers. They have all the key markers of having like a military, more or less.
Yeah.
So, you've got a good point. It's almost better to just strike hard and strike fast and get it over with before it metastasizes and starts showing up all over the country. So that's a great.
Well, then too, when you have leadership that, number one, doesn't understand the law, and this is what's terrifying, right? You have an attorney general in the state of Minnesota who literally doesn't understand what First Amendment protections are when they had that city's church harassing raid where they went in, and he's out there saying, this covers the protesters, it doesn't protect the church and the churchgoers during Sunday service. I mean, that's terrifying on its own. But you used to be able to rely on people in political leadership, legislators, to know the law. And now we just don't. And these would be normally impeachable offenses.
Sure.
People would resign in shame. And now we just don't have that anymore. They dig their heels in, they stay. And what do? It just continues. And so you kind of have this perfect storm of these situations. And Minneapolis is like ground zero right now for this, right?
Yeah.
I do think it's going to spread. But when you have a lack of local law enforcement, local and state law enforcement that refuse to cooperate with federal law enforcement, leadership that fans the flames and is participating in illegal activity that harms constituents when they ran on a campaign of public safety. It's really entrenched at that point, right? And you gotta, it takes a lot of muscle to root it out at that point.
I think that the crush them attitude is literally my heart. I want the whole thing, the media and their lies. I know there's freedom of speech, you don't censor, but then you hold people responsible for their narratives. And just like if I started slandering you in public, I'm exercising my freedom of speech, but I can still get sued and have my ass sued off. And then if I violate any kind of terms, I can end up in jail because I didn't honor the court. So there are things to go after, because the mainstream media, it's pathetic. They're lying nonstop. You got Gavin Newsom, who's disrespecting the United States on the world stage. You've got
my favorite.
You've got all of these people that are saying these horrible things, calling people Nazis, and just using that same rhetoric. It's so slick. They think that they're getting away with it, but everybody can see it. And then you have the upcoming midterms, and honestly, this is the first time I've sensed that there's blood in the water as far as the Democrats are concerned. Now, you may think I'm going one way, where it's like, for a long time, I felt like the Republicans were on the losing side of this. And for the first time, I smell blood in the water. I feel like because the louder it is, the more directly you're over the target. And I feel like with what's going on, a lot is being exposed, and a lot of, if Trump can wield the sword the right way, he can really crush this opposition, expose it for what it is. You've seen the Fulton County voting thing today when they went into there. So I see a lot of stuff happening, and it would look like we're on our heels, especially with the pretty and the good shootings.
Pretty
good. What happened in Fulton County?
I feel like hold on just a second. I feel like we're going to crush them in the midterms. I don't think. I think that this is going to be a mass exposure, because they're mistaking all the noise, the little clamoring noise bots that are out there, for middle America, and it's not going to work. A lot of people are approving of this, in the sense of let's have strong law enforcement. Let's get out there and kick some ass, and take the names later type shit. And so, Fulton County, they raided that office, the voter, and they got all the votes.
Yeah.
And
good.
so, anyways, I do smell blood in the water. So hopefully I'm right. And this stuff is shut down. Good Lord, let's just get it over with already and take it out back. Quit running your mouth.
No, you're making a good point, because the public only has so much stomach for this, right? We're done. They want to keep it going. Trump's like, hey, I'm going to go to Iowa and keep campaigning, and everyone's like, great, let's talk about something positive. And then you have Hobo Fry over here being like, no, it's still terrible. And I think that we're over it.
Yeah, dude.
I want to give people something they can go check out on X, and I think all of us probably read or saw this. This comes from Eric Schwalm, and I'm just going to read the first paragraph. It's a long post, but as a former Special Forces warrant officer with multiple rotations running counterinsurgency ops, both hunting insurgents and trying to separate them from sympathetic populations, I've seen organized resistance up close. From Anbar to Helmand, the pattern is familiar. Spotters, cutouts, dead drops, or modern equivalents, disciplined comms, role specialization, and a willingness to absorb casualties while bleeding the stronger forces slowly. Go find it on X. Yeah. Eric Schwalm, SCHWALM. He got reposted by Elon himself. How you stop this is you cut off the bucks. No bucks, no problems. Yeah. And you have to go after those federal dollars that have been confiscated by the criminals and been rerouted through the NGOs to these people to support them. And then, of course, go after their funders, like the guy over in China. I forget his name. And then, of course, anything attached to George Soros. You get rid of the money, they'll go home because they're not being paid to do it. So that will shrink the force dramatically.
I think that we're still pretending like this is a gentleman's war.
It's not.
It's not.
It's going to go too far.
Yeah, and
they'll
we
take
wanted
it
to be that way, but yeah, they're forcing our hand.
We're assuming that if we stop the money this way, we'll be able to shut them off, dude. We thought we were doing something with USAID. Now look at all the dark money pipelines.
Yeah.
I bet you there's another level to this that we're not even aware of yet.
It's more out in the open, right?
Yes.
Like we now it's almost commonplace that like the protests are funded and these groups, these anti whatever the thing is of the day are funded with. I mean, we're talking tens of millions of dollars, and people are out in the open saying, I think they almost take it as a badge of honor. Like, look, I've got 20 million. I can go fund this. I can go fund that. But I think that they're creating a beast that's going to get out of their control. It's going to turn on them. It's going to go too far. And this will backfire. It just is about how bad is it going to get and how many people have to get hurt and die before everyone realizes like, okay, too far.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and the sick part about it is it's our tax dollars ran through things like USAID into NGOs because George Soros didn't use his own money. He used our tax dollars. We were robbed, and then they used that money against us. Oh, he's a billionaire. He's got all this money. Billionaires don't use their own money. I'm sorry.
I wouldn't know, Aaron.
Well, no, millionaires don't even use their own money. So like it's, man,
and, we haven't even let our,
though.
Yeah, let's see what our guest has to say. We've kind of been running wild here.
I think he's more entertained. He's like,
you gotta jump in there.
This commenter has a good thing real quick just before he says, the people won't go home if the money's shut off and they don't work anyways. That's a good point. A lot of those people don't work anyways.
I think money is a very powerful tool. There was one theory that kind of ties into what Brien was saying, that they built new pipelines to funnel money in, and then I bet you there's a ton of foreign influence in this as well. But if we do figure out a way to cut the money off or make the punishments for these people so severe that they don't want to create any more martyrs, because I feel like that's what's happening is with Preddy and Good, they're just creating more of an angst, more of a reason to go out and try to do this. And I think the messaging has to be tight. The messaging has to be, these people are trying to defend illegals, and we don't know why, because they're stealing from you. And this is happening all over the US. It's not just in Minnesota. Minnesota is just maybe the first domino to fall. But I saw a video from Dr. Oz. He's going around in California, and he's uncovered billions of dollars of healthcare fraud. And there's reports of, New York being way worse than Minnesota. There's I've got some friends in Seattle that are doing this for Somali fraud up there. They're actually going in. They're saying that they're protecting the Somalians. And I think the model that we use is we get these people to say stupid things, and then we clip it and we post it everywhere. It's just like what Libs of TikTok built her whole platform on, because when it goes viral, normies will see that and they'll be like, wait a second.
Exactly.
I'm getting fleeced. I did the math, And so on the low end, if the fraud is just like marginal, people are working about 3 weeks a year to pay for fraud. On the high end, it's like 6 to 7 weeks
per person in the entire US.
Yeah.
But how much fraud are we? Are we talking 20 billion of Minneapolis fraud, Minnesota fraud? Are we talking like?
I'm talking like
half
a trillion to
$500
trillion,
billion.
which is a good part of that. Yeah, because
interesting.
Typically people work about 3 to 4 months to pay off their tax bill every year, which is also ridiculous.
Well, and it begs the question, how much, because of all this fraud, all this cost of living issues that we're having, how much of that is because of fraud? I mean, it's got to be a huge portion of it.
Mm-hmm.
It is. And Elon, when he came out and said he could find $1 trillion worth of fraud, he's correct. Without
just
a doubt.
didn't give him enough time.
The more and more
I
stuff
think it's like fraud, waste, and abuse, right? It's not all just going into, someone's pocket or their mansion in Nantucket, but it's all
inflated costs. Like, I mean, you hear about the cost of, parts and stuff for some of these military equipment, which I understand there's it's going to be inflated no matter what.
Waste,
but
though, I call that fraud.
You could call it. Yeah. You could make the argument there. Yeah.
I mean, what's the definition of waste when it comes to government spending? Well, we bought too much paper. All right. You wasted some money on paper, but when you're overpaying, which the government does because they've set up mechanisms that you have to go through this certain process to get this certain thing. And even though this person over here might have the low cost option, we can't use him because he doesn't fit this particular criteria. So it's not about saving the taxpayer. They're trying to level the playing field through all of the mechanisms that they put in place over the years and disguise them as equality and good for everybody. And we have to be fair and all this other bull nonsense. That's how they've been able to get away with it.
Yeah. And if Americans were actually doing good, financially, if every American had been raised on principles, work hard and not try to be everybody has to be an influencer now. Everybody has to be some kind of easy job. Somebody, now I just don't even want to work. Screw it. It's that ideological subversion that's going on in America. So if we're weak on one front, then we're weak and we're able to be destabilized on the inside. And that saying that everybody said that, they'll destroy America without firing one shot. And it's this guy, Yuri Bezmenov. He's like ideological subversion is the process which is legitimate, over and open. You can see it with your eyes. The highest art of warfare is not to fight at all, but to subvert anything of value in the enemy country. A person who is demoralized is unable to assess true information and facts tell them nothing. So that there was actually nobody that ever actually said that. It was just a paraphrase that people kind of put together. And this is what's happening. It's been happening for a long time. And now we're weakened enough as a country, even though we got the baddest ass military in the world, but still we're weak enough now. And we haven't been paying enough attention to what's going on in our own backyard that we've got all of this subversion that's been going on this whole time.
And demoralization. I mean, look at the left. They are a product of being demoralized for so long. You have them being pumped full of all this negative rhetoric. They're Nazis. They're this. This is the end of democracy, all that kind of stuff. And they're completely demoralized enough to where they can be manipulated to do these crazy things like obstruct law enforcement or abolish ICE. All these little fringe movements that you see. They're desperate. They want some sort of semblance of reality that they used to know, and they'll do anything to capture it. So I mean, they've been completely ideologically captured. And I only think it's going to get worse the more desperate that they get. That's the problem.
Don't you think that though, also it has replaced a productive purpose in a lot of people's lives, right? They're not going to church. They don't have faith. They don't have a social network. Maybe they don't have family. They don't have an actual job. I mean, protesting is a job now because people get paid for it, but they're empty. They're trying to fill some kind of emptiness, and this gives them the cause. And they can just direct all the feelings towards it. And this gives such deep purpose, or they think that it does, that it's just extraordinarily misguided, but it's the only thing they've got, and they're not going to let go of it for anything.
In the psychological warfare manual, it's called tribalism. This is color revolution at work. This is book, chapter, and verse CIA color revolution. They're the ones that invented it. They're the ones that put it in place, and it's us versus them or them versus us. It's as simple as that, because you've got people of all shapes and sizes on either side of the debate, and the news media would make us believe that it's this many people who agree with the riots and the protests when it's really about that many people, because they give them that platform and that stage. And what do? We have a little show where we go live, and we hope to impact as many people as possible. And there's far more mainstream media news sources than there are Fox News sources. And even sometimes I've got to turn off Fox News. I'm like, I can't even listen to you guys anymore. And if, you know, going back, sorry, Brien, didn't mean to cut you off.
You're fine. No,
but, you know, you're looking at the FBI goes into the Fulton County facility. And what if they do dig up what I know in my heart happened? The election was stolen in 2020.
Oh, 100%.
What, you know, what if they can find the
100%.
evidence without it? And they've got a videotape and audio, and they've got everybody dead to rights on that, and they bring that out. Can you imagine how many of the robots that they're going to activate, when I call them robots, the pre-programmed rioters, they're going to turn their minions on, and they're going to say, have at it. And it's going to be ugly.
They're gonna, dude, there's only one way out of this, and that's a fist fight in the field. So like no. Listen,
we don't want to get to blows.
100%. I
get
it. We don't want that, but guess what? Sometimes you got to. So like you can say, I don't want something, but at the end of the day, some people only learn through blows.
Oh, 100%.
What the Bible says, a fool's mouth calls for many blows. And so at some point, this is, you know, because they're going to keep punching on us. They're going to keep punching on us. And at some point, you know, especially if there's exposure of the election fraud, which is going to be denied, and they're going to say that Trump is doing this
AI.
crap. Yeah, like, look, this is what I was originally going to say. I want to spend I know this sounds crazy. I want to like embed myself somewhere where there's a bunch of liberals behind this stuff, right? Because I want to study the animal, right? So like it's
Cam
and I
Hagee's
want to
doing
understand because like people know who he is. So I can, you know, get with nobody knows me, right? So I can go in, hang out with these guys because I sat, you know, especially after January 6th, and I got real still when they started making a list and checking them twice. I was like, man, I'm already on the Muslim thing for being a Muslim, and now I'm on the FBI watch list for being at the Capitol on January 6th. So I got real still. So I went on a journey and I watched all their liberal programming. I got in the blue sky threads. I got into, you know, I listened, and I still could not be. I don't know what it is about them, but you know, I'm more middle. I'm an independent, and I can see certain arguments from the psychologically sound left, if there is some, like Fetterman's. But at the end of the day, I even if I stripped everything away, I went in with an open mind, and I still could not come away convinced. And I'm like, how do people get swept away in this shit?
It's a mental disorder.
There's a lot.
I have an answer because
weaponized mental illness.
What's up?
What do you got, Gentry?
I said I do have an answer because I did grow up in Seattle, so I know all about these people. They think that they care, and they think that they have the right version of empathy, but then they also violently disagree with anyone that doesn't agree with them, and because they have that dichotomy of thought in it, they're wildly insecure, and that also feeds into how they disagree with anyone who doesn't fully 100% agree with them. So them trying to like force other people to think how they think through coercion and violence, etc. It's a tactic of insecurity. They don't know that they hold opposing like viewpoints in their head.
Right. Yeah.
I grew up in Portland, Oregon. I did some growing up there. And I was what you would consider a low information voter. I was
ding.
Yeah, I was one of those people who
winner.
You know,
I'll do it.
He seems like a really cool guy. I think he should be president. You know, that was my mentality. And But at some point, I don't know when I woke up. Was it before the crack or after the crack? I don't know. Or before prison or after prison.
Crack will do that to you.
Yeah.
Oh,
so, like,
Brian.
I don't, I don't know. Like, so what you're saying is, Gentry, is that almost 50% of the country is mentally ill.
That's not what he's saying.
That's what I hear.
You can make that argument.
No, but listen, I let me interject here because I talk to issues experts all the time. I talk to people on both sides, but I will tell you that people on one side of the political spectrum do not like to be interviewed. They don't want to go on the record. And I think this all speaks into what you guys are trying to arrive at here, which is, there so many times when I interview people and I hear what that moment, that turning point moment, that tipping point moment for them was. And you always hear of like Democrats becoming Republicans, but how often do you hear about Republicans switching to the other side, right? It's like men playing in women's sports. Where are the women trying to play in the NFL? They're not there. Okay. But look, that most of them have had that moment where they'll say almost to a word the same thing, is that we as human beings, God created human beings, we are wired to recognize truth. Even if we have been brought up in some bubble, when we hear truth, it hits you right straight in the center, and you know that it's right. And I have heard that over and over from people. And I think that when it comes to politics and you have a group of people who cannot make the case for why they believe what they believe anymore, today's Democrat Party is not the Democrat Party of 30, 40, 50 plus years ago. It's completely different.
Even
they don't
20.
know what they don't know what they believe in. They don't know what they stand for. They don't have a platform. They don't have planks. Opposition is not a position.
Right.
And when you have a party who's stopping and saying like, okay, let's step back and like think for ourselves. And Brian, you hit it on the head, like be an independent thinker and see what resonates with you.
Yeah,
and the Republican Party is not perfect by any means. I mean, there are things that drive us all crazy and we wish that they would do better. But when you look at the options today, it always blows me away that people would be so siloed in that way of thinking. And I think it comes down to education and not knowing our country's history or the history of the parties or any political science or history whatsoever. That I think it comes down to that. And is that if you have the information, if you're a high information voter, Aaron, that was for you. Did you enjoy it?
Well, I know, but
I did.
The pathway is clear for people.
You talked about liberals and voting. Now we've got a violation warning on TikTok. We're
Well,
being pushed out.
Did I do it?
Way to go.
Your live is flagged for misinformation. Repeated violations could result in your live being discontinued.
I mean, that TikTok is just stupid now. So,
Kyle, to your point, you're saying that these liberals will come to the right, and I think it's when they realize that the truth that they are seeking, it is so easily provable, and that's when it hits them, and they go, I don't have to do all this mental gymnastics to make that truth make sense to me. Yeah. When I'm over here listening to what these people say, the truth speaks for itself. I don't have to convince people of the truth that I think is happening. I don't have to do all this mental gymnastics and stuff. It is what it is. And they know that in their heart. And then when they can finally let go of that, that's why you see them coming over here.
Yeah.
Well, they come up with language.
Have you watched the whole clip? Right?
Exactly.
That's all you need to say. Did you watch the whole clip? Did you watch
make
the
it past 10 seconds?
Or they'll piece Trump's January 6th very beginning of his speech, and 54 minutes later,
that makes me so mad. I'm like,
that's
are
why
we
I'm
still doing this?
BBC, like, I was like, they broke out this Alex. Are they trying to like earn trust back?
They are. I guarantee
but how
you they
sad,
are.
though, guys. When you said that, I thought how sad that it had to come from the BBC.
Exactly. That's a good point.
Like that is a
and they're even saying
real
they use
indication of where we're
their
at.
facial recognition software. Like, where did you get that software? And why are you telling us that you're using software on our citizens?
Well, because they double checked because they didn't want to screw up this time.
Well, they're part of the
yeah,
Five
maybe they're trying to
Eyes.
get in Trump's good graces again.
Yeah,
what is that lawsuit? Like a $75 billion lawsuit?
Well, don't forget they're part of the Five Eyes.
Yeah.
Part of the group that we share information with. So now we've got a foreign power saying we used our AI to tell you that guy, that's the guy. He was doing bad things the week before, and it's absolutely ridiculous. But to your point,
sorry,
go ahead.
I was going to say, I actually do appreciate the BBC like trying to pander to us.
Yeah,
because that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Just like CBS, that anchor, what was it, 3 weeks ago, something like that. He said, "Sorry, we haven't been doing a very good job."
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then Bud Light comes out with this commercial, which is like super like American with like an eagle and all this kind of stuff. I do appreciate that because it's not good enough yet, but I think they're trying to make strides in this direction,
or at least beta testing some stuff. Yes,
that's a huge win, and we should be clocking that. Not necessarily.
Yeah, I am. I definitely wrote that down. I was like
celebrating
BBC,
it, but like that proves to me that we're winning.
Yes, or at least making them think. Like I said, they're beta testing this little stuff to say like, all right, well, let's put like a super pro America commercial out like Bud Light did, and like let's see how our numbers look then. I mean, because I know obviously I only see a lot of one side, but everybody was like, hell yeah, this is what we were asking for. This is awesome, you know. So that's got to affect their bottom line, which is all they care about in the end of the day, anyway.
But hasn't that been this whole year of Trump? 1 year of Trump was like, you better get it together, and they're like, I don't wanna. And Daddy Trump's like, you're gonna come to the table and you're gonna eat the food that I made you, and you're gonna like it. And then eventually they come around. I mean, we've seen this with foreign countries, we've seen it with companies, we've seen it. You know, like every single time these detractors, they don't want to do it, but he has flexed so hard. And I think that's what we're loving is like, yes, finally, after we had someone literally asleep at the wheel, which by the way, that whole auto pen thing was like a total coup d'etat, and we're still not even dealing with it. The legal ramifications of that an entire president and an administration was run by someone else's staff, like Joe Biden. Anyway, I digress, but I'm just saying, like, we're finally so strong and so tough that people are coming around on every front, and you've got to love to see it.
I think that, I mean, there's a lot there, you know. I think also that proves to the left that we're not out there actually politically persecuting people just for fun. We're going through things and actually itemizing what's going wrong and trying to overhaul a system while at the same time trying to change things on the world stage and taking all the heat that they're taking. So kudos to the Trump administration for being able to even keep their freaking direction, their true north. And I think they get off of it a little bit every once in a while, but what they're doing, I think, is amazing. And the fact that they've gotten this far is incredible. But, you know, back to the thing, you know, there's a scripture in the Bible, and I'm not a big religious dude, like I said before, but, you know, for it is impossible for you to like basically taste of the truth and then revert back. And I think that's the case because, you know, when going through the things that I went through in my own personal journey of getting sober and going to prison and doing all those things about 15 years ago, I understood that I came out of chaos. And then when I saw order and structure, I realized how beautiful it was as far as like keeping me safe and protected from crazy psychopath killers that I was doing time with. And so this structure, I came to depend on it. And I think prison made me conservative. I don't know. But the whole thing is you've got people that are just they're so oblivious, like the leaders like Gavin Newsom, for instance. He's not in touch or in tune with reality. You've seen that during COVID. And so you've got him saying that TikTok is censoring liberals. What? You know, and he's throwing out lawsuits and stuff. That's how detached they are. They really think that they're being persecuted, and they've come to believe this garbage.
Boy. Don't get me started on Gavin Newsom.
We could go all day. So, you know,
I really like what you said there. Hang on. I want to let's rewind the tape for 2 seconds.
Clip that.
Prison made you conservative. And I wonder, I just want to dig in just a touch because I haven't heard this one before. I like it for a t-shirt. Well, I don't want to encourage people to go to prison.
Send their ashes to prison.
But hang on though. Like when you go to prison and you are actually experiencing a consequence of what you did, it strips you down to really kind of a real base level of existence, right? I mean, it's always been fascinating to me how the human brain flourishes in prison when you don't have all the distractions, or you're just you just have to focus. A lot of people get law degrees while they're serving time, and they go and like
Friend of mine did.
represent themselves and win on appeals, because I mean there are remarkable things that can happen in that circumstance. And so I'm just super curious, now that you said that, what elements you think led to that, because
I think you're 100% right when it comes to the stillness of the situation and lack of these and a barrage of information that's just flying at you at a million miles an hour. And then you actually, as long as you don't get pulled in, I was a Muslim in prison, and thankfully I was in a Muslim population that took it real serious. And being part of that experience of, becoming a good Muslim, allowed me to understand the nature of right and wrong, because a lot of people say, well, he knows right from wrong. Well, we know our version of it. And so then you get this solid foundation, which later on I left Islam, but because you got to graduate at some point, and so like the thing is, I think for me was understanding that, peace and tranquility can be found in law and order. Freedom is found in the law. And that's what the Bible teaches. We look at, it's not a rule book, it's a freedom book.
Wow.
And so that for me, when I started to see the peace, because I was in the streets, I was tossed around from group homes, abused by staff, doing all of those things. And then when I finally got into a place where there was structure and law and order, I found my center in that. And I was able to flourish, like you were saying, mentally and emotionally, have great conversations with people. Dude, some of the most incredible individuals, thought leaders, people that are in, some of the most talented musicians, some of who did not have that structure and order, did not have that family foundation. When they get to prison and they have that solid foundation and that structure, you're like, dude, I want to know this person for the rest of my life, because they are incredible individuals, and you find yourself in that situation.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so that stability, and that's why I think when I came out, it's why I did. I don't think I understood that that freedom was found in the law, and that in order to maintain, it's that peace through strength. In order to maintain that freedom, that ability to do things, you got to respect your freaking neighbor.
Wow.
And
that's
so
profound, man.
Yeah.
Super profound. Thank you for explaining that. I mean, it makes perfect sense, right?
Yeah.
And then you had to walk through the valley, the deepest, darkest part of the valley, but to see it completely broken down and then build that back up, what works? And that is what works. And when you look through the history of our country and why we have this Constitution 250 years later, which is unheard of on a global political structure scale.
Right.
Like, that is what it is. You do have to have rules. You do have to have law and order. And some basic level of respect for each other. It just doesn't work without it. And thank you for explaining that. That was fascinating.
You have to have enforcers of those rules, and there has to be consequences, swift consequences. Sometimes people have to get burnt by it and hurt by it in order for other people to understand and learn a lesson. Proverbs, going back to the Bible again, for some reason, I'm on some kind of religious kick tonight.
I'm here for it.
But like there's, Proverbs talks about, look at the fool and look at his folly, learn from it. Don't do what the fool does. And I'm paraphrasing. And so we can learn, from watching other idiots, useful idiots, do what they do. And we're saying, I'm good. And then when that person that's causing all of that ruckus gets penalized and removed from the situation, and peace comes back to the vicinity, you're like, oh, thank God. And so really a lot of these countries that are destabilized, if they had a strong army that came in there and structured them out, they could find that peace and that freedom. Because like I said, freedom's found in the law. So that's it.
I love it.
Very well said.
Your story,
Very well
someone in TikTok said, I know someone that became knowledgeable while incarcerated. Amazing guy.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
I'm reminded of a quote from the great Jocko is his main thing is discipline equals freedom.
Yeah.
Discipline and structure will set you free. I mean, and it's true. Because a lot of these, I feel like a lot of these people on the left, they don't have structure. They don't have.
They're spoiled. We're
Exactly.
we're all spoiled. We're soft. We've never really experienced, wartime. We've never experienced depression like our grandparents and great grandparents did. I mean, we compared to what people in other countries experience and go through, we are so spoiled. And I think a lot of our problems come from that. Like we think to the point, guys, where we think, and I say we, meaning a tiny subsect of morons in our country right now, think that socialism is the future. They've got it on t-shirts.
There's a guy on Instagram, and man, I wish I remember his name. He's a Cuban immigrant, and he came here legally, all that kind of stuff, and he is just dumbfounded. And he goes on Instagram all the time talking about how he can't understand how these kids want socialism. He's like, I came from that. I'm telling you, it is not good. And they're like, in his comments, oh, you don't understand. That wasn't real socialism. He's like, guys, no, I was there. What are you talking about? And he's like, he is so thankful to be here and experience the things that he gets to experience. And he's like, you guys are crying that you're so oppressed on your iPhone, on the internet, in AC. Like,
electric, it runs 24 hours a day.
Shut up. Yeah. So yeah, it's crazy.
I have a friend
and they're going to go through it. They're going to go through it because they have to. They have to touch the hot stove and get burned. They have to.
They have to.
They don't want to hear about it.
I'm moving to Costa Rica.
Come out of it. It's going to go badly, and then they're gonna blame Trump.
Well,
yeah, but why does the hot stove, like them touching the hot stove, have to be New York? Like
it is New York.
Right.
It is. Like why couldn't they have tested this in like a small town in Alaska or something? Right?
Because
they know that. Let's try this in a small town, right? Try that in a small town. They don't put up with that, Gentry. And you know what's interesting is that Mamdani has kicked off these other young, ethnic, good-looking, smart, wealthy socialists running for office. We've got a big boy here up in Silicon Valley who's going to run.
What's his name? I can't even pronounce it.
Chakrabarti.
There it is. Better than I would have done it.
I don't hate his face. Just saying, I don't hate it.
You're part of the problem.
I am. I hate the politics. I'm into the face. What are you going to do, guys? What are you going to do?
Well, you have to go into major metropolitan areas and cities like New York because you don't have a robust enough system of checks and balances to ensure that the system doesn't get cheated. And that's the reason why we can't go out there and arrest and convict everybody who's been engaged in fraud. There are not enough lawyers. There are not enough judges. There are not enough courthouses. There are not enough jails to hold all the people that are responsible for what's going on. The system has been overwhelmed. So we have to go after the low-hanging fruit, which I think they've done quite a bit of in Minneapolis. I think there's been something like, 70 or 80 convictions.
There's one low-hanging fruit that I'm still waiting on. Don Lemon, lock his ass up.
But wait a minute. We haven't seen anybody of any meaningful power be convicted, and that's what I'm waiting on. So they went
I think
after
it is because of the activist judges, and
the judges are such a problem. Yeah.
If I could give Pam Bondi and her team any advice, because it looks like up until 2 weeks ago they were failing. Talk more about how the activist judges are blocking them.
Yes.
Because that's why Don Lemon hasn't been arrested yet, is because I even think it's the same judge that signed off on a lot of the January 6th.
Yep. Same one.
Let a fraud conviction go in Minneapolis. But I got a lot of thoughts on Pam Bondi.
But here's the interesting piece, Gentry. I think that you're talking about this. That was the last puzzle piece that needed to fit in to complete the puzzle of what Trump needs and the DOJ needs to implement the Insurrection Act, is when you have law enforcement and you have judges and everybody up the judicial system who refuses to apply the law. And it's fascinating to watch this play out. Like they won't protect the public. They won't protect First Amendment rights. They won't apply the law. It's amazing to watch it. It's just every single domino is falling and giving this to him as a gift. Pam Bondi needs to talk less and do more. I cannot wait to hear Dan Bongino, because I'm telling you, He wasn't there for it. He didn't like it. He might not say it all, but I'm telling you, he couldn't hang with the inaction of what was coming from the top there, and that's what made him come back to the private sector. I
agree.
I wanted to like Pam Bondi so much, but
do not put her in
she
front of the
needed to do
camera.
more.
Good God.
And we have too many House Republicans that won't get on board either. We had an opportunity to take away funding from staff funding for some of these judges, and more specifically Boasberg, but we had 46 Republicans vote against it. Now, why? Well, what does that tell you? It tells you they're full of shit.
Well,
They're Republican in name only, and somebody has gotten into their ear and says, no, you can't do that. We need this guy here for a reason. You got to stay on the team. You know, we don't want those pictures to get out, or whatever it is that they've got leverage over them on. And it could be money, it could be blackmail, who knows? But what Republican in their right mind would vote against that? That's an easy way. Like I said,
easy tell.
You have to take away the money. You take away the money, these problems start to go away quicker than people would think.
And it all dials back to when I was saying that we need to get outside, and Gentry, you know, was like, no, we don't need to come to blows. But it all boils down, and obviously nobody wants a civil war and things like that, but it's going to take two things: understanding the DNA of America and standing on it, and then a strong president who does not give a crap. He's going to fix this. And I think Trump's the guy for that. But if you've got people who are having identity crises in the Republican Party or the conservative wing of politics, no real change can happen until they decide what America is and what it's going to be in the future. And we have too much double-mindedness going on within the ranks.
Well, I can tell you we are one of the greatest countries in the entire world because we have an immigrant who married her brother and defunded the population, the taxpayers, by $30 million. And has a wildly successful wine business.
Oh my gosh.
That's gone. That's been scrubbed, by the way.
Yeah,
totally scrubbed.
Yeah, they can't find
totally
it.
Scrubbed.
Doesn't exist anymore.
Like, let's just wrap up this really successful wine business.
We got tired of it.
In Congress,
Didn't
we are
happen.
the most amazing country in the entire world, you guys.
Yeah. Which I think Ilhan Omar's House of Cards is coming down. I think her little stunt today was part of her. Yes, I think that stunt she did today or yesterday was part of her death throes, and that was her desperate attempt to stay relevant. And yeah, I think she's toast. The whole winery thing, I think, is damning. Her marrying her brother
Why
is
does
damning.
everybody need a winery? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think they figured out that was an easy way to.
Why don't I get a winery?
Yeah, right.
We're in California. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, as you drink your wine.
Think about
you got a winery, Kyle?
Think about the decades they got away with this stuff, you know? Like
wine fridge.
Decades. For decades, they were able to get away with this.
I'm going to say something, and somebody out there is going to take it the wrong way, but
love it.
I want to be really clear about what I'm saying. I think that our country needs a political cleanse. And the reason. Okay, but listen. Release financial records. All of them. Release the photos. Get all the skeletons out of the closet. Whatever.
Pull the Band-Aid off.
We have survived Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. We have survived. I mean, who cares about Epstein anymore? Just get it all out, clean it all out, let everyone see everything. We all know, people are doing drugs and people there's
gay sex on the floor,
but just get it out once and for all and let people make decisions based on what's real, because I think right now we have a government being run by people who are just all they're focused on is covering certain things up and nothing is getting done.
Yep.
And
there's got to be
will never happen, but I want it to. I would like to see the cleanse.
I wish there was a lever that we could pull as citizens to say every single person in the government, left and right, you're all out. We're starting on a clean slate. Everybody's out. There's no legacy, whatever. I've been here forever. You're not grandfathered in. You're out, and just start over.
You actually did that about 250 years ago.
It's called
Is that revolution? Is that the word?
The new Republic of the United States of America.
Revolution light.
I actually like what you said there, and like the other side of that is, I almost think that whenever some damning news drops on a politician or someone in power, that they didn't succumb to the blackmail.
Oh, that's a good point.
It's kind of like a weird way to think about it, and
like a warning shot.
Yeah, like a warning shot. Obviously, not everybody
they can do anything
falls
to you,
in that, but like I think about the war games and all the blackmail, and if someone says no and calls a bluff, they're going to dump it in the media, and I'm like, I wonder what happened there. I wonder what they were trying to get that person to do.
Yeah,
that's a great point.
It's like they can put anything. They can put anything on your phone. They can put anything in your computer,
that's
and
true.
next thing you know, you're a pedo, and all of that stuff like that. So you don't know what is truth. But I do want to talk about something. I don't. How much time we got left?
Well, we're at the top of the hour. I was about to cut everybody off, but go ahead. Let's finish that. Let's finish out with your thought.
Let's go.
I want to just kind of throw this out there. Thoughts on Iran?
Yeah.
Thoughts on
yes,
Iran?
Please.
That's the next.
These are my people. And I mean, America's my people, but my extended people.
I was really hoping we could talk about Iran. Thank you for bringing it up.
And so I want to see where everybody stands on that.
Hope. I'm already talking, so I'm obviously going first.
All right.
Well, yeah, okay.
That was so rude.
You have the floor, madam.
I'm so excited because, we have been wondering what's going to happen, and we know how Trump operates, right? He's not going to just leave them abandoned after all of that. And now we see this kind of like ramping up again. We know what he can do, and he's calling them out. This is his pattern. He says, do the right thing, and I'm going to give you every opportunity to do it. And if you don't do it, I'm going to systematically, precisely go in, and I'm going to take out all of your reserves. I'm going to take out, your whatever, all those little things that only matter to the regime and those people at the top. He can go in and get, and I don't think that he has taken this one off of his priority list, and I'm very excited that is happening.
I hope you're right, because I was a little disappointed with the tweet today. I was like,
oh, really?
Yeah, a little bit. We see the force going over there. His words cost probably an additional 20,000 Iranian lives. So and to me that matters. And so when you're telling people, take over your institutions, do this, and get in there. Help's on the way. And
he can't go in yet, Brian. He cannot go in. This is not a Venezuela. He can't just go in and extract them. The people have got to do it this time, because we cannot participate in regime change. And I'm with you. You and I are always on the same page on Iran, and my heart is with you. But he's got to set it up and give them every opportunity, plus. And
it was good. The silver lining was good that he said something about Iran. Yeah. And so I am looking forward to Iran becoming an ally of the United States, and me being able to go over there and visit with family and actually learn about my history there, and meet my family that's there right now. And so I don't know. To me, it's really emotional, and it makes me angry.
We want that too. We want that too for you.
And so Iran was a beautiful place.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Iran
was beautiful.
So,
and our ally, our great ally.
But we can't, surgical, you're talking about a surgical strike, taking out their infrastructure and all of that stuff like that. But you've got this cancer called Islam. Yeah. Or Sharia law over there.
I don't know how to take that out, Brian. I don't know. And so
my thing is you got Pahlavi, that's the people's choice. They want him back to do the interim government, and he's going to be, moderating things, but I don't know if he's going to survive that, it's because it's so crazy over there, and that's what happens. And I'm not saying it all. And I did make a sweeping statement about Islam. I know a lot of good Muslims who want peace. They want all of those things. I do know them personally, their family. But Iran is not a Muslim country, believe it or not. Never was.
I don't think so.
And so there's got to be a strong replacement of FAFO kind of, strong man, peace through strength leadership. And I hope that when we do destabilize that government, take them out, make it so that people can take over, that we give them the support that they need so that they can maintain that structure somehow.
Yeah.
I know to me, that's America first, because Iran was trying to kill us. They've been trying to kill us. They're trying to kill our president. They're trying to do all kinds of things. So it is America first to protect American interests.
If I'm wrong, I will eat my words. I cannot see Trump leaving this one on the table. I just can't see it.
No. Well, let me ask you
Why?
this, Brian, because you're more in tune with it. Do you think there's a solution for Iran and the Iranian people that does not involve us leading the regime change? Because I think that is not something that the American people can palate right now. Personally, I wouldn't be able to.
Obviously, I'm going to have my own like interest, because it's personal to me. And anytime somebody, it's just like if you got a kid with Down syndrome or you got something going on, you're really interested in working on those things, or MS, or well, for me, it's the Iranian people. And it makes America safe. I think working with Israel, we're going to have to work with Israel and the surrounding countries. I think with that kind of, because it's going to benefit Israel and it's going to bring peace and stability to the Middle East if if that regime is taken out. I 100% believe it. And, I'm sure that there's going to be a vacuum. I think there's a way to parafund it, or something like that, because I know we're going to send money regardless. That's what America does. We like to give our money away, give people's money away, but there's going to be a way to be able to enforce that without putting American.
Oh yeah.
I think we'll put American boots on the ground in the form of a base that we may put there just to have a presence there.
Or maybe like in a proxy country or something, proximity, somewhere close where we can do some QRF stuff if we have to. My concern is that we've had such a sour taste in our mouth of, with like Afghanistan and Iraq and that kind of stuff. If we start involving ourselves over there again, the American people are.
We're not going to do it the same way we did it.
And that's my point. There's got to be another way we can do it.
I don't think that's going to happen. And the story of Iran is a lot different than Afghanistan and all of that. This one's not built on lies of weapons of mass destruction.
But this one has to come from the people, and that's how it's different this time. It's not going to survive. The regime change has to be. It's being people fueled, but that has to continue. And so our presence or our involvement can only be limited. And
like a base.
But I do think that I'm so confident. Brian, this one's personal to me in a different way, not in the same way that you have it, but very personal to me in a different way. And I truly, truly believe that when it comes to its end, there will be intervention in the way that our military and the IDF does so beautifully and well. Just the precision and the, like the brilliance of it. I think that's going to happen in a way that will allow the people enough of a stronghold, enough of the majority to go in and get it turned around for good, because that's the trick, is that their military is so loyal to that regime. And so you've got to break it up that way and give people a chance to really truly take over and be sustainable.
I can't wait for Trump. And I'll conclude my little thing here with Iran. Walks to the podium and says, he died like a dog. He died like a dog.
He died like a dog.
Right,
well, he's crying and screaming.
And just to land the plane.
They usually do.
Yeah, and here's the thing. You got this. The story is so different than it is for Afghanistan. Like, it's not built on lies. You've got
you got the people behind it.
37,000 people were killed.
I know it.
Conservative estimates.
I believe that number. I totally believe that number. And like, it's so bad over there. Like, when you look at it from an economic perspective, and I think people here don't realize, like, you think about our economics and our younger people who are looking at their future and they think, I'm never going to afford a house. I can't pay my taxes. Why am I even working? It is so much worse for the youth of Iran that, of course, they're in the streets fighting. And you talk about a lack of a Second Amendment situation over there. They get nothing. These people are risking their lives. They're seeing their friends, their family just slaughtered on the streets. What they are risking is so valiant and so courageous. We cannot forget that. It drives me crazy that these people here will be like, free Palestine. And then they're watching this
Renee Good
incredible situation play out and they won't say a word. We are watching history be made. This could set them up for a lot of success for years to come. But you can't change the religious part of it. And that is the tough thing. That is the thing that is difficult to shake. And you can have regime change, but you can't have religion change over there.
Right. Well, they're not an Islamic country. they're part. And it's just like America has Muslims in this country.
Yeah.
There's a lot. And the thing is, they're not an Islamic country. But unfortunately, most of them have been indoctrinated into to that religion. Gentry, before I know that Aaron's trying to end this. Do you have any thoughts?
From a geopolitical perspective, Trump can't ignore Iran. Number one, it's a humanitarian crisis. But number two, China and Russia are both using Iran as a hub. And so since we've made Venezuela a fantastic ally, China and Russia were both using Venezuela. I think a way to cripple those two powers and
Cuba then. Well,
yeah,
Cuba.
But I think from that perspective as well, that's just at least for me, it's a no-brainer. I think the biggest question is when and how.
Soon, hopefully soon.
I don't want there to be like a Bush regime change.
Yes,
I don't think it's going to be like that.
That's not going to happen. Yeah.
Trump likes to do things spectacularly, not waste $7 trillion on a dumb war.
Well, he also has Marco Rubio. I mean, can we?
Man, I love that guy.
I love Rubio, dude.
Yeah.
He's the best of them.
Dude, and he's behind the scenes. He's not like making a big spectacle about everything. He's just doing the job, man.
You see all the memes they be making up.
He's like wearing a different uniform.
He's going to be the Vance's new nanny, and he's in the Mary Poppins outfit.
Yeah, dude,
you gotta love it. You gotta love it. No, you're right, Gentry. You're so awesome, and I appreciate you and your perspective so much. And just before we go, Aaron, I have to say, I know you're playing us off with the music, but you haven't sung. You have not sung to us yet.
I'm not a singer.
I think that you should sing us out.
Well, I'm not going to sing us out, but I'm going to take us out.
No. Put some music on that you can sing
I'm going to put this out this way, and I want you all to remember this is a quote from a great man, and you've got to remember when Apollo Creed told Rocky when he was scared to fight in Rocky 3 against Clubber Lang, there is no tomorrow.
Oh.
There is no tomorrow. We have to act. I know most of you aren't old enough to even remember the quote, but, there is no tomorrow, guys. Well, we've talked about things need to happen, and we need to keep our foot on the gas and not give out and give up. So we're going to go out here with a little courtesy of the red, white, and blue, guys.